What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kickash Podcast. We are live here today. It is Saturday afternoon. We were live this morning over at Brass Ring Media. So thank you everyone for joining this morning at 10 a.m. But I wanted to jump on my channel here. It's been a minute and just talk a few things. AEW, just Dynamite, man. This week was something to say the very least. Dynamite was something. So I wanted to talk about that a bit. I talked a lot, pretty much the entire show, over at Brass Ring Media this morning in regards to Smackdown. So I'm not going to spend too much time this morning covering that. Hold on one second. I just want to turn my volume down on my device here really fast. But yeah, so thank you guys for checking out. If you pop in while I'm live here, I appreciate that. Or checking it out on replay, I appreciate that as well. I just had to sit down before I head out to the good old part time this evening and just talk about Dynamite from this past week. And but before I get into that, I would be remiss if I did not reference what happened on SmackDown and the greatness that we got on SmackDown in regards to the Motor City Machine Guns winning the WWE Tag Team titles. I was very happy to see that. Very surprised to see that, to be honest with you. Very surprised to see them win it, especially in their third match with the company. I think that was very, very, very good. I'll just say to start off with, very good for WWE and good on them, I should say, for pulling the trigger and not being afraid to do something like that so fast. And my dog is rolling around in the background, so sorry if you hear her. But I was just very, very happy with how the main event went. Now, yes, and again, I'm not gonna get too in depth in that because I spent the whole show over, like I said, this morning over at Brass Ring Media regarding the SmackDown review. But I wish they would have done the main event a little bit different. I wish they would have. I don't know. Like I just wish that we would have gotten a little bit more time in the match. I understand the story behind it, and I like the story behind it, and I understand the match itself wasn't the main focal point, and the whole idea was to have the Bloodline infusion and to have Jay come out and cost the Bloodline the tag team titles. Totally get that, and I liked it. It made total sense. I love the continuous flow that we're getting from show to show with this storyline. And I was surprised by the Roman sighting. Again, I missed like a promotion of it or something like that, but I wasn't expecting to see him. So that was very cool. And I think I liked his role. I liked that it was about him, but it wasn't about him. And I liked that how the show ended with Jay and Jimmy embracing in the ring. I liked how Roman was standing towards the main part of the entrance, the stage area, and just watching. And again, like I said earlier in over at Wrestling Media, he's so great with his facial reactions and his expressions and just how he portrays a lot and portrays what he's feeling and in whatever emotion that you think he's going through, or if he's conflicted, he portrays that as well. So, but just in a different, yeah, greatness on a different level, right? Is the slogan there. So in that regard, that is very true. So props to him for that. And I like how he again was involved in the closing segment in the closing not segment, well, obviously a closing segment, but the closing portion of the show, but it wasn't solely about him, and it was more about the Usos and their embrace and their reunion. So I like that, and I like that we still, it's not a foregone conclusion that Roman and Jay are going to be, buddy again, or if this is just going to be a mutual understanding type of thing. So I like that. I like that cliffhanger that we have there. And again, Roman's face kind of showed his confliction with it, really, how he's happy almost that the Usos are reunited and that Jay is back. He knows deep down that he does need Jay, but he doesn't want to admit it. But he's still kind of bitter about it. You get the vibe of you still feel like he doesn't want to embrace Jay, right? But he knows he's going to have to, especially for the numbers game, if nothing else, and to help combat the other version of the Bloodline. So I liked that. I liked how they tied, or how he tied all of that into just a very, very simple yet effective mannerism and just expression, and he didn't have to do much at all. So props to him, and shout out to him for that. But yeah, in regards to the Motor City Machine Guns, I wish we would have gotten a more competitive match. Just and again, just because just how great these teams are, right? And like I mentioned in your other show, like who would have thought a year ago we would have gotten the Gorillas of Destiny facing off against Motor City Machine Guns in a SmackDown main event, right? Just wild, and it's so cool to see, and I'm very very happy for them. But I just wish we would have had a little bit more time to the match itself, and we would have gotten more physicality in the match. And again, we'll probably get a rematch, and I understand again, like I mentioned, what the main focus was, but just selfishly, I wish we would have gotten more of a match. But it's only a matter of time, right? Probably, obviously, after Crown Jewel, we'll most likely get a rematch, maybe on SmackDown, or we'll just see the Motor City Machine Guns move on. And I, like I said again, not to keep referencing that, but I like how this shakes up the tag division, and it really freshens up that area in the roster that needs help, in my opinion. And just since help in the sense that they need more substance, they need more teams to really help balance out the division and make it more competitive. So they're on the right path, and again, the conundrum is just that one of the tag teams, and who are, the tag team champions no longer, they were tied up in the whole Bloodline thing. And I liked that they did take the titles off of them since they're obviously going to be involved. Again, I was one in the ball camp of keeping it on the IC title on Jay a little bit longer, but I understand it. I'm just selfishly wish they would have kept it on him a little bit longer. Again, Canada Dry. If you need a sponsorship, holler at me. But that was pretty much the main thing for SmackDown, right? We did have the Game 7, which I talked heavily on. But today's on this show, what I really want to do, again, because I don't have too much time, but I was getting the itch, and it had been a minute, so I just wanted to sit down and just get something out there. But I'm just really perplexed in what we're doing with the AEW and Dynamite and the whole Mox regime. I think there was Tony Schiavone had referenced them as the Death Riders on maybe Collision or Rampage, one of those shows, and I saw that on a tweet somewhere. So maybe that's going to be the name of the new group, and that's a pretty cool name. I'd be down for that, and if that's what we're going to go with, it makes sense. I like the edge of it. I think that it would just really, it would fit, right? And it would make a lot of sense. So if that's what they're going with, getting all these, had to put my phone on D&D really quick. Getting all these text messages and phone calls for the election. So yeah. What was I saying? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. So the Death Riders thing. I would really dig that name. I think it would be a really good fit for them. So if they do go forward with that, and if Tony Schiavone was right in what he was calling them, then cool. I would like that. And they need some type of name. They need some type of ID at this point, not just Mox and his crew, or I don't think they're actually calling it BCC or anything like that. So we just need something to call them at this point. But again, with Dynamite. So I'm gonna pull up. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull up the breakdown from from Dynamite this past week. And again, shout out to Jason Powell over at ProWrestling.net for all the work that he does there, and Jake Barnett, all of the crew, and Tony D'Onofrio. I know Wade messes me up because you said it one way and then obviously the correct way, right? But then Wade says it the other way, and then it just I need to go back and re-get that pronunciation. Regardless, shout out to the guys over there. I appreciate everything that you guys do, because I would not be able, I don't know, maybe I could, but It's you guys do great work and make it look easy. But again, just kind of like a brief overview of Dynamite as a whole, and then we'll get into like the nitty gritty of the Mox part. I really liked the Shelton Benjamin and Sammy Guevara match. I think that it was a really solid match, and yes, it could be viewed as random. And why was it needed? And maybe you can even say, why would you put Guevara in that position? Because he was a pillar, right? And if they're still ever going to reference that whole pillar thing of AEW, he was one of them. And to see where he's at now, it's, I don't know if it's disappointing or what, or if it's just part of the process. I don't know. Obviously he's had a lot of issues, whether it's in regards to behind the scenes or injuries. And again, like they've dealt with it. It wasn't anything too serious, right? And it's stuff that he's, I think, like owned up to. So nothing scandalous, right? I don't mean it in that regard, but just he's just had some stuff going on, you know what I mean? So it hasn't been all sunshines and rainbows over there for Guevara. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even implying that he's being punished or anything like that. It's just he's in a different position now than where he once was, and compared to the other pillars as well. So that's just kind of what I'm getting at with that. But this match was great, and I liked that. I'm not going to say great. This match was good. I liked the fact that they really referenced and called back to Guevara's fandom of Shelton Benjamin. He was a big fan of Benjamin. They showed a picture of him. They did a little video package. I liked that. It really added to the match. It while it wasn't anything, the match wasn't a big deal, but it added another layer to it. So I think that was really good, and I think that they really, little things like that make a big difference, in my opinion, especially in the long scheme of things. So yeah, I'm happy that they at least put some time and effort into building the match, whether they're going to do it or not. um, or whether it was gonna, like, Sammy was gonna win, or if there was ever really doubt that Sammy was gonna win, or Shelton was gonna lose. I'd like that they at least put a little bit more into it than they normally would have. And again, the match itself was great. It was I can't want to say great. I don't know why. I'm Tony Khan in my brain, right? But the match was very good. I think if these guys would have gotten more time in like a pay-per-view setting, if it was built up even higher, and again, if Sammy was in a different position, then maybe it would have we could have gotten more. But I think it was good for what it was, and for the time that it was allotted to. So props to them for that, and props to Guevara too, because he's still one of the best sellers out there. So props to him for that. Ah, I take a quick swig of the drink. Um, and again, kind of backtracking with to the beginning of the show itself, I liked that. I liked the video package that we got. I liked the video package with Moxley, him in the desert, and it was just, I like that it shows them all riding together in that truck. You know what I mean? It's a different vibe. He was addressing a little bit from or not even a little bit. He was addressing kind of what happened from Wrestle Dream without specifically stating what happened. Right? You can't show the visual of the whole bag thing, but I wish we would have gotten this a little bit sooner. But it's fine, and we're still in the infancy of this whole possible Death Riders, if this is the new name, takeover, and an explanation as to why. So I'm giving it time. But in regards to this episode of Dynamite as a whole, it just kind of left me a little bit conflicted. But I liked that video package, and I think again that just promo, and not even a promo, but that excerpt, I guess we'll say, from Mox, it really added a lot, in my opinion. But fast forwarding a bit to having all the guys stand out in the, you see Kelly in the background. Say hi, Cal. Having all of them stand in the parking lot was just kind of comical to me, and I don't mean that. I hate to be mean, I just hate to be mean. I'm just getting the notes pulled back up here to get a rundown of who was included in that. But yeah, so there was, excuse me, Top Flight, Dark Border, the Conglomeration, Jeff Jarrett. I don't know. I can't recall if Jeff Jarrett specifically was there, but oh my god, what is his name? Oh my god, I'm blanking on the tall guy's name. Singh? I'm blanking. But yeah, it was just so kind of funny to me. Like all of a sudden, we're watching it, and then he just pans over, and the camera pans over, and then he's just standing there like this big giant just standing over on the side, and it's just like, why is he all the way on the side? Like, why is he damn near not even, well, not in camera view at all? You had to pan over to get him. It was just very odd seeing him there. It was just kind of jarring, I guess is the word I'd go with. But there was even Mark Briscoe standing in the center. I'm thinking like, are we getting him in a ladder war later on? So why would he be out there? Like, I props to him for caring more than a lot of the other wrestlers there, like Adam Page. Well, I guess he's technically a bad guy, so he wouldn't be involved. But Adam Cole, all these guys, and even if they are good or bad guys, all these people, a lot of guys in their promos, they praise AEW, right? And that's part of the issue that I have with it. It's like they're loving AEW and praising AEW for giving them everything and that's great, but it's like you're not defending AEW. Like, why aren't you out there on the front line with them? Even Sammy Guevara in his video package, he said how AEW gave him everything, changed his life, gave him his family, all that good stuff. Bro, why aren't you out there in the front line? You're a pillar. Why? Like, actually, it's a very good point. Like, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, why isn't Sammy Guevara out there? He was literally at the building this week, so why would he be out there on the front line defending the company that he's a pillar of? That's kind of odd to me. Maybe we'll see him jump in later on. And again, like I said earlier, it's still very early in this whole story, so I'm gonna give it time. But it's like little things like that. I'm like, come on, bro. Like that doesn't make sense why he wouldn't be out there defending his what he thinks is his company, So kind of a miss for me. But we did get Daniel Garcia out there in Private Party. I don't know, man. It just the regular Action Andretti, I think, was out there. Just the regular crew. And I don't know. And kind of fast forwarding and jumping around a little bit, we saw Chuck Taylor, who randomly, I guess, is part of production now. I wasn't aware of that. I guess I heard that he had like an ankle injury or something that took him out. So I don't know if he's done for good wrestling, but it was just like random. And again, this is another part that I have a little bit of an issue with. I'm going to take another sip here because I'm a little parched before I get into this excerpt. I don't understand the gap. So, especially now that we see an active employee of AEW now, right? Someone that's part of the production crew. Chuck Taylor made it a point to, when he was talking to Cassidy about, and I'll get to Cassidy in a second, he pulled up the emblem on his shirt, that the AEW logo. He made it a point to say, they lived together before AEW started, pretty much like when they had no money type of thing. And now it's like you're saying all this stuff, right? You're saying how AEW gave, kind of like what Sammy Guevara said, AEW gave you all this stuff. AEW changed your life essentially with you and Cassidy. I'm sure they're not living together anymore. And provided you like a roof, right? And you're pro AEW and gun ho, but why is no one else in the production crew? Why is no one else in management concerned or making any type of like gripe, or like why aren't they out there like I don't know, like to me that's part of the gap. Like, I'm not asking Tony Khan to go out there. I don't really need that at all. But it's just very odd to me that now we see members of the production crew out there, and so we know, like, and not for any reason that we would expect Tony Khan not to be aware of it prior, right? Obviously, but now we know that production is actively concerned for the company's well-being. So the fact that they aren't really addressing the severity of what Mox did is that just really stood out to me. I'm like, okay, so, and again, I like the callback to the history with Chuck Taylor and Cassidy, so I liked that, but the whole with him being part of production part just really just kind of made me like, wait, what? First of all, I didn't even know that's the thing, which is not important at all, but it was just like, oh, I didn't know that. But the part that made me go, wait, what, was more in regards to, okay, so production and management and crew, they're concerned for their well-being in AEW. So why aren't why haven't we gotten at least some type of message directly from Tony Khan, even if it's through Tony Schiavone or if it's related to Excalibur on headset? Why aren't we getting some type of recognition of, oh shit, there's a lot going on backstage. Mox is running rampant. Um, hey, I'm live. I am live. It is not the premiere. I am here. I am live. What is up? If you are still there, welcome, man. It's so cool to I'm happy you're back. I know you had taken a little sabbatical there. But I'm happy you're back. So even if you're not watching live still, it was cool to see you pop in. And so hey, baby. But yeah, man, yeah, this is live. Just had a little bit of time, not too much time, but a little bit of time before I had to get ready for work. And I've been fiending to get back on here, so I just figured I'd just pop on. Completely impromptu. I wanted to go an hour earlier, but some shit came up. But yeah, here I am. But yeah, so the fact that Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy are just like well, mainly Chuck is pretty much like, what the fuck, Cassidy? Like you got to step up, man. You got to take it seriously. Like you need to do something. Hey man, welcome. It's good to see you. Welcome back. I'm happy. I don't know if you're watching. Again, pop in the chat, whatever your thoughts are. And what you've watched. I know you took a little break there, but yeah, man, it's something else, right? But yeah, so the fact that Chuck Taylor is telling Cassidy all this, you need to take it more seriously, da da da, and then this part just killed me. So he's telling him all this, like, all right, Cassidy, like you need to get serious, essentially, and like get angry. They turn around and walk the other direction. It's like, wait, what? Like you're not gonna turn around and stay and help fight? Like your guys are the other direction. Like where are you going? Like Chuck Taylor is telling him like all this stuff to get him hyped up, and you go the opposite direction. I don't like. You have to go talk about it. You have to go think about it. To me, like I don't know if it's that big of a deal that Chuck Taylor came out there to talk to Orange Cassidy on the front line, right, or wherever they were backstage in the parking lot area. Why wouldn't you, like, if Cassidy's even considering it? Why would you then turn and leave? Like, why wouldn't you at least stand there and maybe go off to the side? Or do something like have Cassidy acknowledge it, or just even like continue to walk to the side, but they just straight walk to the back, and I'm just like, all right, like, okay, like I guess that's not a good sign, right? But I don't know. And again, I think it's still telling too. I don't know why I just thought of Darby, but well, I guess I do because I'm thinking the people on the front line there. But it's very interesting that we haven't seen Darby. Even if he's gonna go the route like, oh, like he was so distraught over what happened, and to me, like that shouldn't even be my judgment and my interpretation of Darby's character, right? Is he's not afraid of anything, right? Like that's the whole point of him. That's his whole vibe. He's not afraid of death. He's not afraid of pain. He has no fear, kind of like Jeff Hardy, right? Like fear is just a 4-letter word. It's kind of like his vibe. And where has he been? And I'm not even implying that, oh, like I'm not thinking that he's scared, right? I'm at the exact opposite. I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, like he's, I guess, just trying to figure out why did Mox and everyone and the former BCC, why did they go to that length, right? Because we haven't even, Darby does crazy shit, and we haven't even seen Darby go to those depths, right? Of trying to like suffocate someone with a plastic bag. I mean, I guess you could say there is something for the coffin, but they're not suffocating and they're not like staying locked in there, like no one has to beat Darby off of the top of the coffin to like let them free or anything like that. So it's just like, why isn't Darby there? And again, I like I said, I'm giving it time, but that's just kind of been like a little hole for me. Just with his version of his character and his vibe. It's just very weird that he's not there, and we've gotten no video sent in, no nothing of him, no acknowledgement of it. And again, I'm expecting him to respond once he does come back, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like I'm missing something. And I very well could have. So there's that. But between that and Hook was in the shot there as well. I'm pretty certain. Let's see if I can pull up. I'm gonna go back here for a quick second. AEW Wrestle Dream. I'm pulling it up. That last visual they had of like it was Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and I think Hook was in the shot as well. But reading your comment here, baby. Have you heard about the AEW mole on Twitter? It seems someone at AEW is spilling the beans on backstage info, and it seems to be accurate. Unsure who it is, if it's real or not. It's interesting. No, I have not. I have not been on Twitter too much this past week. It's been a little bit of a busy week for me, but no, that's very interesting. What do you know something in like particular that they've kind of leaked and it ended up being true? Do you know anything like in like directly? But no, I haven't. And now I want to know more. I love a good tea, right? No, I haven't. But I love tea, right? For me, because it's gossip or whatever, and in that shit in a way. But on the flip side and the more important side, and that part of me is just because I'm kind of like the type of person, like I've said, like with the Shane McMahon shit, right? Like I just like seeing Twitter erupt because I think it's just so funny. But no, I haven't seen that. And again, like back to the seriousness part of it, come on, like if someone is employed there and is actually leaking stuff, and it is true, and it is like plans and stuff like that, then that's fucked up. Like you are, first of all, you're in a very honorable position if you're being trusted with this information, and if you are in a position where you are help making those decisions or help forming those decisions or whatever, or just privy to them, then it's kind of like a piece of shit thing to do. I never understood the sources, right? Like the people who would leak the information to the journalists, right? I don't understand, and like for the spoilers and stuff, like what they got out of that. Maybe they were getting like a payday or something. So maybe that's it. But I would imagine, especially if it's with AEW, like nowadays, like you're probably making a pretty penny if you're at that level. So I don't see why you would need more money, and maybe you're just like a greedy person. But I don't know why. I don't know why you would do that. Stop. Please tell me it's not that. It's literally their name, AEW Mole. Get get the fuck out of here, bro. Is it really? Stop. I gotta stop. Stop it. Hold on. Sorry, this is long. Just gotta move my mic really quick. Stop it. All right, hold on one second. If you guys are listening back on replay, I'm sorry, but I gotta look this up. And if you're listening on audio, I'm sorry. But that's why you need to check out YouTube. YouTube is the way to go now, right? I'm trying to look up to see if it is. Oh, stop. Oh, the tweet's protected. Jacksonville, Florida. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, so I'm gonna put it up here really quick. Wow. I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna pull it up here. Yeah, so I don't know, baby, if you can see their tweets. I don't know if you have been granted access. Try to pull my screen up a little bit. But yeah, so this is what Bebe was talking about with the whole AEW Mold Twitter account. Their this cracks me up. Their bio says backstage informant for All Elite Wrestling. In an attempt to keep my sanity, I'll be leaking the stuff they don't want you to know. And they have, stop it. They have their Twitter profile pic as a mole. I mean, of course, right? I mean, what else would it be? But I kind of like this banner. Man, just take a look at this banner and look at how much has changed. My goodness. And what year was this? 2019? 2020? 2020 probably? Yeah, I would say probably 2020. Just look at how much has changed. So that back there, I don't know if you guys can see you can see my mouse. We have Britt Baker cut off in the back. Sean Spears. I'm believing that is the chairman, Sean Spears. We have Will Hobbs FTR, MJF. Look at a young MJF. Man, who's this guy right here? Wish I could zoom in. Who is this guy right here? Wardlow, man. Where has he been? Old Jade, we know she's no longer there. I mean, we have Will, to be fair, has had an injury. Tony Khan with the shades. Good old Y2J, Jericho. We haven't seen Paul White, Big Show. I don't even know the last time we've seen him. He was doing commentary for a bit, but yeah, Sammy Guevara was just talking about him, the Pillar. Cody, man, it's Cody and Brandy, man, and little baby Libby right there. Man, it's just crazy how much has changed, bro. It's just crazy. This banner just took me back. Of course, you have Sheeta, Darby Allin. Who's that? Eddie Kingston? Probably right there, Eddie Kingston, and then of course Orange Cassidy, a staple. What is very interesting and kind of noticeably absent, in my opinion, is the Elite. No Kenny Omega, no Young Bucks thing in this shot. Yeah, just interesting. But that was kind of funny. The mole, it's cute. Yeah, no. Let's see. Debe says, at David turning heel is the channel I learned about it. He got granted permission to see the post, so you can see it on his video. Nice. Okay, I'll check him out afterwards. I'm gonna throw this up there, so if anyone's watching on replay or whatever. Bebe again says at David, which is Daveed, turning heel is the channel I learned about it. Okay, if I can talk. He got granted permission to see the post, and you can see it on his video. Wow. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna check that out. This is interesting. Very interesting. I almost wonder why they would have their tweets protected though. Because they have to assume someone's gonna, like record it or take screenshots or something. So it's like, especially if you're creating an account to leak information, like why would you make your stuff protected? Like I don't know. Like it's just, I don't know. And especially like, I don't know. Maybe they just wanted it to be like a running diary, but then like, why wouldn't you just make a diary? Like I don't know. That's just kind of odd to me. So yeah, that's just, I don't know, but it's very interesting though, especially if you say that some of the stuff that they've had has been accurate. It's very interesting. So yeah, you wonder that too. Yeah, just very perplexing. But yeah, getting back to Dynamite. But no, thanks for, yeah, it does seem cryptic. Thanks for bringing that up. That's definitely gonna check that out. Do you think I wonder if I should submit a request to follow? They follow the Kick-Ass podcast. I'm gonna do it. What the fuck? Why not? Why not? So we'll see. The anticipation begins if I get accepted. It's pending, but we'll see. We'll see, and if we do, I'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, that is very interesting, especially if what they're reporting is true. I wonder why. I wonder who. But yeah, man. Of course, I appreciate you being here, man. Like, I appreciate you being here, and I'm happy you're back. I'm happy you're back into the wrestling world. Like I said, I know you were taking a little break there, but I'm happy you're back. But yeah, so AEW though, pull up my notes here again. I don't know what and again, to be fair, I don't really know what I'm expecting or what I want from this whole angle and from the end game of this. What I hope for is just that it all makes sense with the whole Moxley thing. Just be clear with the whole Moxley Death Rider potential thing and what it could be. I just want it to make sense, and that's why, again, backtracking with the whole like the people that they have defending AEW in the parking lot and stuff, like that's why to me, like, yeah, it may be like an easy thing to kind of piggyback off of or just kind of pick on, but and it may, like, some people may not think it's a big deal, but it is a big deal because your world champion, your guy who's been there since day one, who left a multi-billion-dollar company because he was just tired of it. He didn't care if he made $100 on the indie scene. He just wanted to be done with that world of wrestling. He jumps over to AEW. He's their man, right? Like from before AEW was even on TV, he was there at Double or Nothing, right? As soon as he could be there, he was there type shit. Why all of a sudden does he hate the direction of AEW? And I think we're learning a little bit more of that, right? Like he essentially, like, he wants people to be more hard hitting is kind of the vibe I'm getting, like the flippy shit, like he's not a fan of. which is and to be fair, that makes sense with the people that he's going after, like your private parties, your Action Andretti, that those types of guys, like that makes sense. But you can't tell me like those are the guys you're sitting out there to defend you. Like that's the part that I don't buy. Like those are the only guys that want to defend AEW. It'd be different if Mox was specifically going out there and he did, right? And to be fair, he did. But why haven't we gotten anyone else even referencing it, even acknowledging it, even if they're a bad guy? Why isn't Jericho referencing it with how much he loves TV time and he loves to talk, right? Like, why is he out there talking about it or at least referencing it or being a little bit skeptical backstage? Because with how Mox is talking and how the Death Riders, I'm just going to call them, that crew is going, like, why would you assume that they're not going to go after you? You know, especially with the history that Mox and Jericho have, why would you assume that you'd be safe? And to be fair, you would assume that Mox and his group hate someone like Jericho's character, right? Like they would despise the learning tree. They would despise the TV time that they're getting. So that's where I'm like, it doesn't really add up to me that no one else is referencing it except for these guys who we barely in Dark Order. Like we haven't seen them on TV in months. And I'm sorry. Like no disrespect to John Silver, but like I can't take it seriously. And he's trying not to laugh. You know what I mean? And I get it, bro. I get it, but it's like I can't take that shit seriously. Even if he's like holding a pipe, like come on, bro. And the clip that they had a couple weeks ago with him running after the truck, no, I'm sorry. I that just kind of killed it for me too. Like and it'd be different if we didn't start off the way we did, in the sense that you twice now you tried to suffocate who was the champion and now the former champion and Bryan Danielson with the plastic bag. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like you can't start off at that level and then go to the invasion days of yeah, we're gonna have WWE, WWF versus WCW, but like it's only gonna be like the bottom tier guys. And of course, the situation was different back then because they didn't have access to like the Hogans and Goldbergs back then, so it's a different playing field. But in the sense that the presentation still didn't change, right? Like yeah, like you understood like if you knew at the time and or if you know in retrospect, but like watching it live, it's like really like these are the guys that you're sitting out there. And again, that's why the whole Chuck Taylor thing kind of bothered me because it's like okay now you have production acknowledging that there's a problem and they're in fear for AEW's well-being going forward, but no one else is caring and no one else is even referencing it. Adam Cole says he loves AEW, right? Why isn't that a focal point of his? Why is he so focused on MJF? Like someone who's not even here. MJF isn't even there, so it's not like Adam Cole is busy backstage looking for MJF or anything. What is he doing? Like what is he doing backstage? Like, yeah, maybe he doesn't want to get involved because he doesn't want to risk injury or anything like that. And I would maybe buy that. But at least say that. You know what I mean? Like just reference it. That's what's kind of killing me. That's what's taking me out of it. And again, I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna give it time because part of me still has a good feeling at the end of this that, and I guess I'm just trying to be hopeful, but part of me feels like they're not gonna flop with this one. But again, like it's not adding up right now. Why no one else that the big names are really caring to even acknowledge it. So that's my concern. And Bryan Danielson just doesn't exist anymore. Bryan Danielson has just fallen off the face of the planet. You know, as much as he loves his planet, he's just missing from it now. He's just gone. Like I no reference of him hardly at all. Like, and yes, they show clips of it, which thank you, but and what they could have, but and again, I don't want to hear from Bryan. I'm not saying I want to hear from Bryan for the rest of this year. I don't want to hear from him for months, maybe even a year until he's ready to come back officially. Like I don't want to hear from him really. I'm not saying that, but I would expect Tony Schiavone. I would expect someone to give us an update on him with how distraught they were in the press conference, the media scrum afterwards. Like Tony Khan had to leave. That's why he wasn't at the media scrum. That's why he couldn't answer questions because he was tending to Bryan Danielson and going to the hospital with him. Where's the update on Danielson? Like I get he's not wrestling full time, but he didn't quit. He wasn't fired. It wasn't loser leaves AEW type thing. Like can we just get a Bryan is at home with his family. He's resting, he's recovering, he's trying to get a grasp of what's going on. He's trying to come to terms with things, his new future, his new present, something, just something. Like it's just that blows my mind that he's just we don't know. We don't know. So that those are the things that are just kind of like, what are we doing to me? Oh, I'm gonna show this one. Sorry about that. Baby, yes. Do you think Shane McMahon has anything to do with Mox's story? It seems like it might could fit considering the quote "You work for us now" line in the WWF WCW Shane story from 2001. Yes, and again, kind of what I was saying earlier, just whatever in me. I'm saying yes and I'm hoping yes because I want people to lose their minds. uh, I spoke about it before, but I think that for a few reasons, it could be very beneficial for AEW if they use him properly. But more so behind the scenes than now. When the picture was first leaked of Tony Khan, speaking of leaks, I wonder if that came from the AEW. When that picture was first leaked of Tony Khan and Shane McMahon meeting, I think it was like in Arlington, Texas, at the airport in that conference room. I need to get adjust my headset. Sorry. My first thoughts then were just business wise, and I was saying back then, like if we get Shane on TV on AEW TV, if nothing else, you've got to do Darby Allin versus Shane McMahon, which now fast forward is it's so ironic. And I'm actually gonna if whenever I have time, maybe sometime coming up, I'm gonna pull that clip and go back and see. I'm pretty sure I tagged it. But I said, like, can you just imagine the sheer like shit show Darby Allin versus Shane McMahon would be? Now granted, I know Shane is like if this was Shane 10 years ago, maybe like it would still be very dangerous just health wise for Shane, but just me being whatever, I would just fucking love to see it. But now it would make even more sense. And like it's just kind of like mind blowing to me. Like I just threw that out there as like a wild, just like what if, but now it could very much be a possibility. Like at one point we would get Darby Allin versus Shane McMahon, which is fucking bonkers. But I like in that percentage, I would put maybe 5%, maybe, at right now, for that match happening. But it would make sense too because with Shane McMahon coming in, with now he hasn't referenced it as much, Mox, but he did, like you said, mention the "You work for us now," and he's mentioned a higher power. And again, I the thing with the bag and the title, Moxley putting the title in the bag, that really stood out to me. And that was really an eye-opening moment. And I think that they were very subtle with that and they didn't draw much attention to it to kind of like have that little seed and hold on to that for later. Because I think they're going to readdress that. And that's going to make sense. Like, I think when we get a reveal, I think every little thing like that is gonna be like, okay, that's why. I think he may have, I don't even know if he held the title up, but I know when Mox first won, I think he wanted the ref just to acknowledge him really quick. No pun intended, right? Shield brothers. But then they immediately put their title in the bag, right? Yeah, so the higher power, yeah. So he had referenced at one point in one of his promos, Moxley did that. He's referencing like a higher power, and that they were being guided by a higher power at some point. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the exact promo transcript. But yeah, so essentially that was kind of like the vibe of it, that they were being led by a different not entity, right? Like no like supernatural shit. I hope. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it. If I can't find it right now, I'll see if I can find it for the next time I jump on here. Here's I don't want to obviously play that. It's the YouTube video of it. But yeah, he had referenced something to that, and pretty much just working for someone else. So between that, again, the whole title in the bag thing, scrolling through Reddit really quick, but I don't see it right now. It just makes sense. It would just make sense that he's working for someone else. Then there was other rumors that it could be like a Josh Barnett coming in. just with the whole blood sport and the brutality of that type of vibe. It's just different vibe than wrestling as a whole. But that's the style that Mox thinks that wrestling should be. Which again, like it never made sense to me because Brian Danielson wasn't like a flippy guy. He wasn't necessarily advocating for any of that. He was more in aligned with the style of William Regal, Moxley. And so that's why I just wish we would have gotten more explanation as to why Moxley hated Danielson so much, or maybe it was just for the fact that he just didn't want Danielson to have the title. But again, I don't know. That's still an open ended thing that I need answered. I probably won't get, but it's fine. Um, yeah, the whole title in the back thing, man. It's just it. But I have faith in that one that we're gonna get an answer to that. But and I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen the title since then. I don't know. So let me know if you have seen it, but I don't think I've seen the title since it was placed in the bag. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong because there were a couple episodes that I just had to watch like the clips on. But yeah, I don't think so though. But getting back to the whole Shane McMahon thing, I think that it would just make sense. I think that it would for my own enjoyment, but I think it would make sense because Shane can really lead an invasion. And or honestly though, like if you were going to have a AEW like pretty much like something in a force in a group going against AEW, I would have wanted Moxley to be on the side defending AEW. It would have made more sense to me, just because Moxley is such a good guy and not in the stereotypical sense, but in the sense that people love him and people just love to cheer him. But he has done a phenomenal job of being just an asshole and just being just downright grungy and dirty and just being despicable. So I like that. But I think they need to continue amping it up too. And again, like I said, I still think we're in the very early stages of this, which is why I'm very excited to go to World's End. It's going to be here in Orlando, Florida. I'm definitely going to be getting tickets to go. I was debating on going either to the WWE live show that they're going to be having here or World's End, but I'm going to go to World's End just mainly because it's the pay-per-view, right? If it was just like a Dynamite, I'd go to WWE most likely. But I think it's gonna be a good pay-per-view, and I think a lot's gonna happen there. And like I said before, I think if Shane is gonna debut, or if anyone, but most importantly Shane, I could see it being there because what better way to have like your one version of the AEW world end with the shock of a McMahon coming in and just pretty much just crushing what AEW stood for. Yes, it hasn't been as prominent, but when AEW started, they were the alternative. They were everything that WWE was not. Now, a lot has changed since then, and we don't have time to get into that right now. But if we're gonna tie back to it and we're really gonna go strong with this story, that that would be something that would kind of disrupt AEW's world, right? And potentially put it into that world of AEW, and that's the vibe that they can go with. And that's why if they're gonna take it to that level, and that's like if that's the idea and the version that Moxley truly wants to take over AEW, you need an impact like that. And if it ends up being nobody and it's just Moxley just kind of talking in riddles, then I'm gonna be disappointed with that. And I'm really gonna think they dropped the ball, especially if we get no other inclusion of higher level guys on the card. And I am, and again, like I said, I'm holding out because I think that we are going to get the involvement of the Young Bucks at some point. I think it's very telling that they just stood there on the ramp, whatever night that was, and did not get involved. They did not go out there to help the AEW guys to beat up Moxley or anyone. They didn't pick a side. So I think that is going to play into it, and it should, and it needs to, because just a few months ago, the Young Bucks were trying to do the exact same thing, not to the same level of extreme, right? But they fucking what gave Meltzer driver to Tony Khan, and now it's called I forget what they call it now, the Khan driver or something. But like, yeah, that was the whole reason Tony Khan was put in a neck brace, is because of what the Young Bucks did and of what Jack Perry did. So you you can't just not reference that. And that's again another kind of issue that I have with this. It's that there's just so many open holes in that regard, and that's what we need connection on. And I have hope that we're getting it. Maybe not as quickly as I thought. And again, I'm a patient person. Like, I'm not saying I didn't want all this to start at Wrestle Dream and then us have answers the next week. I love that this is, and this needs to be drawn out for like a year. You know, if you really want this to thrive, you can draw this out and have so many different, like the Bloodline. You can truly draw this out and have so many different layers. But I think that you really need you need to continue to build to it. And you need to handle with care. You need to very much treat this as a baby and make sure you're focusing on what makes sense and not leaving logic holes, because you're going to have fans who are going to pick this apart, and especially and rightfully so, because if you're putting this type of severity into it and this level of importance into it, you can't expect us not to care, and that's the whole point, right? You can't sit here and expect me as a fan to not analyze it and not be like, okay, well, like, why is Moxley doing this, or why doesn't Adam Cole care? Why don't these very logical people, why are they concerned? Why is it Renee, someone that is directly involved in so many different ways? Why isn't she concerned? Why isn't she bothered by Marina Shafir? Why is Moxley, and especially there's times when it's just Mox and Shafir, why isn't she bothered by that as his wife? You know, like, why isn't, I don't know, like, why? That's why I feel like there's got to be something. There's got to be a great reveal, is what I'm saying. And I feel like we're gonna get that at World's End. Maybe I'm just being hopeful and selfish, but I truly feel like regardless of where it was gonna be at, I feel like that's gonna be a big show, and we're gonna get a lot of answers there. So that's what I'm holding out hope for. They're not known for their week-to-week storyline development, so I am expecting to be a little disappointed, but I'm happy that they're doing something. I'm happy that Box is really spearheading this, it seems. So that's why I'm kind of hopeful as well. Now, do I think that it's going to make 100% sense in the end? No, because the little things all along the way happen. The whole shit with Danielson and him not being able to defend his title at Grand Slam, but he was able to face Nigel McGuinness, who, oh, by the way, he didn't even reference or acknowledge going into it. It's just, all that was just a big L in my book. And it felt like it was just a big change. For what reason? Because if you're planning on doing a storyline this heavy, that should have been thought of, you would expect, at least a couple months in advance, and you would have had, what you're doing at your big shows. You would think, like, you should have it like a calendar, right? Like, okay, like Grand Slam is this day, Wrestle Dream is this day, in the book backwards, essentially, is what I would think. But again, I've never been in that situation, so I don't know. But that's just what I would think. And again, shit happens. You have injuries, you have people who can't make shows, whatever, like travel issues, like, things happen. I totally get that. But it doesn't excuse a lot, man. And it still doesn't excuse what you promote and what you don't promote. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I am gonna jump here soon, baby. If you're still out there, a TK driver you mentioned a few minutes ago. I think that's what it's called as well. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you jumping on here. It's been very cool to interact with you. And I'm so happy again, like you said, that you're back. And yeah, man, if I'm gonna maybe, probably not tomorrow, but I'm gonna try to do another show sometime this week. But yeah, I just thank you for jumping on, man. I appreciate you. Thank you to everyone who watches this in the future, and who listens via the audio version of it. I appreciate that. Definitely subscribe and like if you haven't done so already. If not, that's cool too. I appreciate you jumping in, jumping out, whatever. Yeah, man, love to too. I appreciate, and the AEW mole thing. Let me see. Let me refresh really quick. See if I've gotten an acceptance. Let's see. I doubt it, but I'm just curious. Especially with my name being Kick-Ash Podcast, right? They're gonna be like, this bitch just wants the info. No, nothing yet. It's still pending, but maybe if I ever get accepted, we'll see. But I'm gonna check out that channel too. It was Dave. I don't know how to pronounce it. David. Put that up there one last time for everyone. But David Turning Heel is the channel that you had heard about it from, and I'm very intrigued now. I'm about to jump off here because I have to get ready to go to work. But I'm gonna check out that channel and see, because now I'm very interested. But thank you for putting that out there and letting me know about it. And like I said, again, jumping on. But thank you everyone, like I was saying, again, for watching this in the future. I appreciate you for downloading, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Again, if you ever have time, I am live every Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern over at Brass Ring Media, so definitely feel free to pop in over there and chat, or check it out on replay as well. That's pretty cool. I appreciate all the support and just the feedback, because I only do this because I love just finding other wrestling fans and friends. I've met so many great people through wrestling. And it's just fun just to bullshit about wrestling and just talk about stuff that, in the grand scheme of life, isn't as serious, and just stuff that you can just take a break from and just get on here for an hour and just not have to worry about the rest of the world for at least a little bit. So that's why I appreciate you guys just for checking it out and just doing whatever. But as always, stay safe out there. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Whether you enjoy sports, whether you enjoy being outside, whatever it is you're going to be doing, enjoy all that and stay safe. But always enjoy wrestling. It's not that serious. But as always, thank you for joining and for interacting. I appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Oh, we have one more. I'm a chatty. You said you're a chatty Cathy dude. I should probably have my own podcast. But hey, man, if you ever want to jump on, we can link up. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to sign off here. But baby, I appreciate you, man. And like I said, everyone, Sean, I know you're gonna watch in the future. I appreciate you, man. Everyone, Sai, thank you, guys. But like I was saying, enjoy your weekend, enjoy some wrestling, and stay safe out there, guys. Take care.